This tree grows grenades. You see, this is a sandbox tree, native to South America, and before we even address the frag grenades growing in the branches, we are going to start at the bottom of the tree, because I feel it's important that you understand that this tree was designed from the roots up by God himself to f***ing hurt you. Growing up to a staggering 60 meters in height. The first phase of the f***ing boss fight that is this tree is the giant, inch-long, rock-solid bark combat knives covering the thing from top to bottom. Now, if Groot's cousin being armed like the average British resident was not enough to stop you from getting too close, touching the tree will immediately make you realise it is not ribbed for your pleasure. It's for your f***ing poison. Yep, as if the spikes weren't enough, the sap of the sandbox tree is very f***ing toxic, causing severe itching and rashes on contact, and if you some f***ing how get it into your eye, it will temporarily blind you. That all pales in comparison to what you came here for. The reason, the other name for this thing, is the f***ing dynamite tree. The fruit. You see, these fruits aren't meant to be eaten. In fact, they're poisonous. Put it in your mouth, you'll cramp up, vomit, and shit yourself. No, they are made to spread the seeds of the sandbox tree in the most American way humanly possible. Explosions. The fruits are basically seed-filled time bombs. As once mature, they begin to dry out. As they dry, they shrink, and they slowly begin bending against their stems. The tension gets too high, snaps the fibers, holding it against the stem, and the whole thing explodes like a frag grenade, sending seeds flying up to 240 kilometers an hour. This turtle breathes through its butt. No, this is not a joke. This is a Fitzroy River turtle, native to the land down under, and as with most of the shit found in God's drafts folder, its existence begs a single question. Fucking why? Well, these little guys are freshwater bottom feeders, snatching and consuming the children of aquatic insects and munching down on the occasional ribbonweed salad. And as with most river turtle species, this requires them to spend most of their time in the water. Now, rather than doing what most turtles do and developing an insane lung capacity, the Fitzroy decided to evolve a set of gills alongside their lungs to allow them to stay underwater for 3 weeks at a time.
Hello, how are you?
3 weeks later.
I am under the water.
However, when placing the gills, God was absolutely fucking plastered. And instead of placing them on the neck like a normal animal, he slipped on a beer can and not only placed them on its ass, but inside of it. And you know what makes this even worse? Turtles do not have a single purpose hole like you or me. They have a cloaca, which is the fucking Swiss Army knife of holes. This means that Fitzroy River turtles shit, piss, breathe, and fucking mate out of the same hole. The Kraken is a real animal, just not the one you think it is.
Who's that Pokemon?
You see, when people hear tales of the Kraken, they assume that a bunch of sailors in the oldie times got absolutely shit-faced and ran into a giant squid. And to be fair, that's not a terrible assumption. Giant squid are f***ing kaiju-sized, coming in at 12 meters in length and 900 kilos in weight. So the assumption that they saw that shit and rightly assumed sea monster isn't too far-fetched. However, there is a rather large hole in that giant squid theory. They don't live anywhere near the surface. They live down. Way down. Owning real estate at a depth of 1,000 meters below sea level in the twilight zone. So if these sailors didn't see Squidward's roided out brother, how the f*** do you explain the books of corroborating tales of long, tentacle-like appendages sticking out of the sea? Well, the answer is whales. But, where is the tentacle on a whale? Well, you see, during breeding season, blue whales reproduce by, conducting a locomotive on female whales. And in order to keep this train running on the tracks, male whales must wait their turn. And while waiting in the lobby, in order to stay prepared, the males tend to, raise their gentleman's sausage out of the water and wave it around in the air. And the special sausage on a blue whale is around 3 meters long and 14 inches thick. So, sailors who thought they were seeing a mythical monster from the depths were, more than likely just seeing a pot of whales hitting weapon inspect on their schmeat.
Captain!
Yeah?
This frog deliberately breaks its own bones. But why? Well, you see, this is a hairy frog, found on the west coast of Africa, and the reason it hits a brutality on itself, ironically enough, is self-defense. You see, these guys are small, coming in at an incredibly respectable 3 to 5 inches, and tipping the scales at only 150 grams, which is a problem, because they also inhabit the ecological equivalent of a fucking FromSoft game. Africa is one of the only places in the world that gives Australia a run for its money, with Mr. Frog here having to avoid birds, snakes, and rats on his walk to work. Now, in order to avoid this scenario, most frogs either run a high-level stealth build, or dress up like a fucking highlighter and cover themselves in everyone's favourite liquid. But the hairy frog has read one too many X-Men comics, because this thing actually has another name. The fucking Wolverine frog. Because these little guys have claws, but not traditional claws like a cat's, which are made of keratin and freely extend and retract without an issue. No, instead, the finger bones on a hairy frog's hind legs are held in place by a small bone at the tip of their fingers. And when threatened, they snap the longer bone off the tip and through their fucking skin. And then, new weapon acquired, they employ the London self-defense strategy. That isn't a tree. It's a fucking bird. Introducing the tawny frogmouth, a species of bird found in the land down under, and Australia's very own avian equivalent of a maxed out Skyrim stealth build. Now you may be thinking to yourself, well, it can't be that stealthy. I can see it. Yeah, you can. You can see that one. Did you see the one right fucking next to it? Now, the important question is, why the fuck do these things have predator camo? Well, there's two reasons. First of all being, it's fucking Australia. You see, these bad boys are primarily nocturnal, staying on the move during the night and dive bombing unaware insects to meet their bulking goals. However, that means that during the day, they sleep. And in a country where at any point you can be bitten, mauled, stung, or fucking drop-kicked to death, laying down in the wrong spot can turn a short nap into the forever sleep. So, in order to prevent themselves from becoming an item on a snake's KFC order, these tactical chickens evolved a ghillie suit to basically allow them to fucking disappear. Being practically invisible allows them to unlock their second passive, f***ing DoorDash. You see, these guys are so f***ing good at cosplaying a stick that not only do predators mistake them for Groot, but so does their prey. And so, whenever they take a nap, they just leave their mouths open a little bit. And whenever some poor ant just tries to walk his way to work, he instead DoorDashes himself directly into its f***ing mouth.